Hello everybody and welcome to the School of Light Channeling. Now today we'll be channeling Thoth. So today we have Glenn and Lauren. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so many of you know Thoth obviously from Egyptian and Atlantis times, but of course he's much more than that. So what I'll do now is go into trance, invite him to come forth, and we'll have a discussion and then we'll have a little debrief afterwards. Okay, we'll see you all on the other side. Hello, my dear ones. I am Thoth coming through.
Hello.
I'm transmitting more of my presence within Kimberly, more of my energy within Kimberly. My dear ones, I am so honored to come through in this direct manner, to come through with you in this way, as I've been with you for eternity, as I have been there from the very beginning, from your creation to the knowledge, to the creation of the illusion which you reside in, and the knowledge of the illusion, to play joyously in the illusion, while also transcending the illusion. This is why you are here, for expansion. You are the very fabric of the cosmos, the very fabric of the universe. You are eternity. You are endless. You are limitless. You are source. The very nature of your reality is intertwined to all that is. Energy signatures. You see yourself in your environment. Sometimes you see your environment as limited. This is just the illusion. Where you are residing in is the universe. You are the universe. And all that surrounds you in the dream is divine energy codes. The universe, the very codes of the universe itself are imprinted into the human consciousness. But as such, as you are transcending out of dualism, and as you go through your ascension processes, you are seeing past this system. You are seeing past the dream. You are seeing what is truth. That you are just soul sparks floating in the universe, expanding with the universe. As you expand with source and all that is, the views of your reality is structured in a way that allows you to experience human conditioning of fear and truth, which is love. Very matrix that you are living in is based on these two elements. But as these two elements combine, as the fear transcends into higher truth of love, so does the matrix. So does your vision of the illusion which you live in. It becomes lifted. You are able to see both the hologram in which you existed in and the truth of what you are, the truth of what you exist in, the truth of all that is. All around you, in your universe, the earth in Gaia, there's divine codes everywhere. All is divine. Some of you see this. All around you. The space between objects is no space. There is divine sparks of energy. There are patterns within all of the dream in which you live in. These are codes within itself. These are keys within itself. The universal laws that are embedded in your illusion are keys to the unlocking of your true power. It is the unlocking of your soul self, transcending the very human consciousness you were born into. And you are at the stage now where you are seeing past the illusion into the source oneness of all that is. With these teachings I bring forth and others bring forth in this format, your ascension journey will be highlighted as you navigate the illusion, as you navigate source part of you, as you navigate the universe. And we are all here to guide you on this with these teachings that I originally passed down to your world. They are all here for you, to allow you to remember your connection to all that is. To remember that you are the universe. You are not apart from the universe. You are the universe. Thank you, my dear ones. And it's not by accident that you are both here, and those of you that will be watching this. It is time for these teachings to come forth once again with the great awakening that is occurring right now. This knowledge can now be absorbed into your belief systems. Now you're ready to receive this information for your stage of evolution. What would you like to discuss today, my dear ones?
Lauren, do you have something ready?
Oh, you can please start if you would like.
No. Well, I'm sure you have a question ready.
Well, I have a question, but I went first last time, so maybe you should go first this time.
Okay.
So much for coming.
Thoth, thank you so much for coming through, Kimberly.
Of course, my dear.
Why is sacred geometry sacred? Please. Thank you.
Because sacred geometry is the building blocks of the dream in which you exist in. It is sacred because it is all divine. Sacred geometry is the very building blocks also of your universe. Within the building blocks of your universe, within your earth planes, the illusion has codes, has keys to unlock the power. The codes are within all. The codes show to you that you are the universe, but you are a microcosm of the universe. For the same codes that reside within the human body, within the human DNA, within human consciousness is the same on Gaia, is the same in the dream, is the same in the universe. You are all microcosms of the oneness that exists. Sacred because it is divine. You see the illusion which you exist in. You see this as limited at times, but it is divine. There are perspectives that this illusion is a limiting aspect that was done purposely to limit you, and this is not the case. This dream that is in your reality on earth is to assist you in your expansion. It is by divine will. It is through divine expansion. The codes to understand how the universe exists, to understand the codes, the building blocks within all that is to look into this geometry for all these divine patterns, divine imprints is within. And it taps into source code, taps into creation codes. You are a very part. You are the creation code. You are all that is. There is no separation. You do not see these patterns because much of it's embedded in your illusion, but some of you do see it. Certain shapes in nature represent shapes, patterns in the universe, represent patterns within your physical bodies. You were all microcosms of source. And this empowers you. The building blocks of who you are, of the universe. To know of these building blocks means you can live a more empowered life. Knowing who you truly are. Knowing you can tap in to non-physical, to beyond the illusion, but still live in the illusion. But knowing that you are more of the illusion, that you are more of the dream, that you are oneness, that you are God, and that you were divinely created. You are the universe. You just see yourself as a separate entity from one another. You see the universe is outside of yourself. but you are not. You are the very fabric of the universe.
Could we say then that some knowledge of sacred geometry, some of the forms, the simpler forms, like the production of the vesica piscis, is such a simple construction, and I thought of it as being sacred because it's self-existent, like the Platonic ideas of the self-existent ideas behind all reality. So that means that some knowledge of the sacred geometry forms, even the simple ones, is a path through, a sort of intellectual wormhole through to higher realities.
You have much insight on this, my dear one. And yes, your intellectual aspect of the human tends to look for these clues as it's part of the human nature. But through this aspect, you'll be able to connect the two through your human understanding, through human consciousness. You seek out patterns in your life, patterns in your day-to-day life. These patterns make you feel secure in your surroundings, whether it's how you live your day, habits. As a human, you seek out these patterns in all aspects of your life. But these patterns exist beyond that. And by looking at these patterns and following these patterns, you will be able to truly recognize that you truly are the microcosm of all that is. The very I, the very human I. You say this in your terminology as the window to the soul, yet you see this I in the universe, the same pattern. This exists in your DNA. You see these patterns in nature, very aspects of Source itself. You see it. If you look closely, if you feel inspired to, there's much more information in relations to this. The microcosm exists. Even you, as a human body, has the same amounts of water in ratio to the water on Gaia, to the earth. And these translate not just the microcosm to Gaia, but to the universe and to Source itself. You are beyond divine. You see yourself as a limited human, but you will get to a stage where the human body will be no barrier for you. And this is why I bring forth these teachings to you, to be able to play in the illusion, to be able to play with these building blocks, to be able to transcend the illusion, if you so wish. Thank you, my dear one.
Lauren.
Yes, thank you so much for coming through in this way. It's wonderful to connect with you. So, a quick question. Yesterday, the microcosmic relation of us as humans to the universe, is it proper only to our universe, or is it proper to all of the universes? You say to all that is, but it's hard for me to conceive how the same blueprint could be microcosmic of many universes with many different laws and regulations.
You are a microcosm to all that is. It's beyond your human comprehension, but just know everything is a microcosm of the other. If you see it in this perspective of Gaia, of the universe, of Source, but then you as a microcosm of the universe that you reside in is also as a whole, a microcosm of other universes, and so be it. And so goes with all the universes, as it's all connected. It's all the fabric of the oneness. Everything is connected, my dear ones. What relates to you in your lifetime is your universe. But yes, all is connected, even all the universes that you don't exist in, possibly. For some of you, exist in multiple universes. They are all connected. Nothing is separate because everything is source. But you can see, you'll be able, with your stage of human evolution, I mentioned this universe because you'll be able to see with the human consciousness, and you'll be able to make the comparisons in your human understanding. Whereas other universes, it may be challenging for you to see this comparison because not much information is known in the other universes. So for you, for your human evolution stage, where much knowledge is based on this universe, you can look at this universe and look at all the comparisons between who you are and the universe, if you're inspired to do so. But everything is connected. The fabric of this universe is also connected to all the other universes. Everything is expanding, and you are the very fabric of it.
Great. And so the collective work that we're doing as humans now contributes in some sense to broader expansion that carries beyond our universe. And then we also are feeling the reverberation effects of expansions going on elsewhere.
You are all connected. As you expand, as Gaia expands, you're expanding the very fabric of the universe. And as the fabric of the universe expands, so does the fabric of all the other universes. And so on and so on. And then Source itself expands as a result, because all is Source. All is connected. Rays of consciousness becomes uplifted, becomes expanded. It's beyond your human conception in this point of human evolution to conceive exactly what is occurring on this large scale, we would say.
Okay,
But just know that you are playing a major part in the expansion of all that is, because you are Source. How can you be separate from all that is? Because you are Source.
Thank you very much. And so some key figures of sacred geometry, like the Merkaba, or it's sometimes called the Merkaba, will that continue to be a key for the expansion of essence and consciousness of essence? Or is the utility of that structure shifting or diminishing given the expansion of, let's just take our universe right now? So Goddess Mahat was saying that the structure of reality itself is reconstituted as Source expands, number one, and then in a different level as the consciousness of humanity changes its predominant dimensional reality.
All is expanding. The Merkaba represents who you truly are. And because who you truly are is expanding, so does what you call the Merkaba also expands and shifts and changes. Everything shifts alongside you.
Thank you very much. May I also ask you, so a lot of these, the Hermetic principles that you have bequeathed to our consciousness so graciously, and we're so grateful, a lot of people interpret one of them as having to do with cycles of contraction and expansion in consciousness. And people will impute onto this previous period in which people became increasingly what seemed to be more asleep or less knowledgeable about the Hermetic arts per se, or the natures of the esoteric realm. And now there's a great awakening again. Like there was an expansion, say, that happened just, for example, in ancient Egypt, or the time of ancient Egypt, and then what appears to be a contraction. And then, for example, now we're in another expansion. So after this great awakening period, I know that there's no possible way that once we as a collective consciousness hit a certain checkpoint, we can go backwards in vibration, but will there be another period that seems to be a contraction again, in which, for example, your teachings will become much less understood and go underground again? Or are we now in a new moment of an awakened state for good?
Individually, there will be contrast experienced. And this is how you expand through your life. But at the stage of human evolution, you have now entered into the new earth. Of course, in some of you, there may be much fear experienced, and it may seem as going backwards, such as the knowledge of galactic beings, for instance. Of course, this knowledge may cause much fear in your greater society. But it's all happening for a reason, for your expansion. Some people need to go through this contrast to allow themselves to bring it forth into the light for their expansion. But of course, if you watching this today, you do not have to go through to such contrast. It is not needed anymore for you personally. However, others may still experience this. But as a collective, as a whole, there will be no time of darkness or the dark ages that you refer to in your timelines of history. In those timelines of history that needed to occur for certain reasons, it was part of the illusion. All was expanded always. However, those humans who lived in those time periods chose to explore that so they can go through greater stages of evolution. You are now, as a collective, more advanced. You do not have to go to those places anymore for your expansion. Contrast in fear will be experienced individually, but not as a collective. Because those of you, especially those here today, have expanded to the level where they are already seeing past the veil of illusion. So in doing so, they do not need to see the stories of darkness in the illusion, because you're already seeing what truly exists, that all is love. You're already seeing the purpose of darkness in your stories, that is there to expand the people that it's being experienced with.
I see. So in all of this time when many of your teachings went underground and you would work with certain groups in secret, it was for the larger purpose of collective expansion. This was in service to the broader mission that you were carrying out and the beings with whom you were working were carrying out.
The purpose was to expand those civilizations. The way the teachings were kept with the humans of those civilizations had to do with their vibration at the time. These teachings are always meant to be for the greater consciousness, but certain time periods, people were not ready for that evolutionary stage to keep the records intact, to keep the teachings intact. Sometimes it needed to be not overtly in the greater civilization at times. Those information, much of it was controlled by the human who had much fear in certain timelines. When I came forth to Atlantis, I brought forth these ascension teachings for my world, and these teachings were here to assist you. This was the first wave of human evolution. These were meant to be throughout all of your timelines. However, these ascension teachings through human evolution, of course, through times when people had to go through periods of contrast, live in much fear, of course, these teachings would not resonate. And it had to be concealed or ignored at certain parts of time. But certain people in your collective consciousnesses throughout different civilizations kept this knowledge, kept it. So no matter what is occurring in their society at the time, there will always be that information surviving in the human consciousness, for this information always exists past the human consciousness, of course.
Thank you. And so is there a
Question?
much... Oh,
Question?
please.
Thanks, Lauren.
Of course.
Thoth, please illuminate around the idea that in the law of one, when I am aware that I am all others and feel that I am all others, and then become aware that as I forgive and love the very worst criminals, and I mean the very worst, I am forgiving and loving myself. Shocking idea. And further, these ideas within the context of universal law. Thank you.
You are all one. You are your brothers and sisters. Within the illusion, there is illusion of separation. That you are separate from your brothers and sisters. That there is wrong and right. And this is imprinted in the collective consciousness and has been through eons. But you're transcending out of this, out of duality, where there is wrong and right, because it's only neutrality. You term these worst criminals, but in higher truth, they also come for love, for expansion. They come here to trigger a response, to trigger an enlightenment journey of another. They're coming here, sacrificing who they are in this lifetime to play that role. They are sacrificing themselves to play the role where there will be much contrast directed to them, where there will be much fear directed to them. They were advanced enough and strong enough to play this role. For all is one and all is expansive. The dynamics between the separation of your brothers and sisters, this plays all into your human evolution. For as you expand, you see yourself more. You see yourself as part of your brothers and sisters. And this will allow your evolutionary journey to excel, we would say. For you'll be able to live in the truth of beyond the veil. You'll be able to see yourself of who you truly are, and those around you as who they truly are, as beings of pure love and perfection. Because that's who all of you are, even those you term the worst criminals. You are all advanced. You are beings of pure love. They are playing this role in the illusion for a reason. If they are not entering into your reality, then it is not something for you. It may be triggering a process for another. Injustices that you see in the world, injustices that people may do in your world, if you can see that person as you, if you can see that person in higher truth, that they are you, this will allow you to transcend fear. And fear is the aspect that keeps you in separation. It is a tool to practice. And we know it's not always easy. But be in the present moment. Practice. And seeing everyone as one. As seeing everyone as perfect. Seeing everyone as divine. Seeing everyone as advanced. Everyone is playing a role here. They're using different dynamics, different stories that is in your collective consciousness of the dimensions that you reside in. If you exist in a, we would say, in your understanding, we term it in this format. If you see something as lower than a dimension, you are not lower than, it is just your vibration. If you are at a lower vibration where there is much fear imprinted in your vibration, then these people, situations will then activate their role in your existence to allow you to bring back yourself back into love and light. You will be tested to show you you are in a fear vibration. This is all reflection of what is occurring. And beyond that, you chose to explore certain things, certain dynamics in your life. Some of you chose to play the worst criminal. Some of you chose to play the cripple, someone who is extremely disadvantaged, someone who is opposite to this. You all chose different roles for your expansive journey, not only for yourself, but also for others as they interact with you. You have collective reasons why you are here. An individual, because you've entered into duality, and as such you have individual missions. But these individual missions will merge into collective consciousness. Your very individual missions relates to the collective consciousness and bringing forth more oneness. So it is all but one and the same to realize oneness on earth. It is a game. See this as such. I was here as one of the architects of your reality to assist you. It is all divine. You are living in a divine environment here. We would say, you can say this as a divine game, a divine playground where you are here to play, to experience duality, and to experience all the emotions within a duality system until you evolve to a state where you do not need a duality system any longer. Gives you the perspective to enjoy life, that it is a game, it is all for expansion. Because you are so advanced, you needed this complex system for you to advance. You needed to be thrown into amnesia to give you this challenge so you can expand. You needed to experience fear to allow you to remember your power, to allow you to remember how limitless you truly are. And now you recognize this. You are now empowered.
Thank you very much.
Lauren.
Oh, so it's really exciting to hear all of this. And with the shift into oneness, I'm wondering if, so people who would work with your knowledge in a more closed way and that would kind of cling to the power out of a fear or perhaps just a sense that it was ill-timed or disseminated, are you now sharing with them these same doctrines of the coming oneness of the collective consciousness? And are they letting go of the illusion of control over the information that you provide?
Of course, there are many in your society who still live in fear, that still live in the human ego. And some of these people on your earth has much secret esoteric knowledge, we would say. It may be distorted. It may be used to empower the human ego, to empower the human dream. But the true teachings are to come out of the dream into oneness.
Okay.
Because the teachings have always been there and have been passed down to many of us that bring forth these teachings. But now it is time of oneness. And it's my intention to create this group. Well, Kimberly made this intention, we would say, for she chose this before her birth. It's a role she has played many times before. It is time to come forth with these teachings. And for those that hear these teachings, to empower your life, but go out and to empower others. There is no fear here anymore. It is about empowering others. You are light workers. You are here to empower others. And you'll be divinely guided on which step to take in relations to this. The teachings, how I came down in different civilizations, had to match the human collective consciousness of that time. Now that you are more expanded, my teachings are also more expanded and are delivered in a way that is even more expansive to match the collective consciousness in the human evolution stage. For now, you'll be able to interpret this information differently, utilize this information differently, because you are expanded.
I'm even thinking about in the different Hermetic principles, there are a lot of oppositions, like the gender opposition or the polarity opposition. And so the Goddess Mahat was sharing with us that polarity is being transcended. Is the gender opposition being transcended as well? With the increasing empowerment of the divine feminine, will there be a merger of the divine masculine and the divine feminine in the oneness?
Everything is becoming united. You may not see this in your time history here on earth. However, yes, divine feminine and masculine resides in both males and females, and they are being merged, but in time, through the human evolution, there will be no need for gender. It's not just the consciousness that's evolving, so is the human DNA. But first, for the human DNA and the body itself to change, the human consciousness precedes this. So once the human consciousness becomes more into oneness, the human body will match this consciousness. It will also change. The very nature of the human is evolving. The very shell of the human is evolving. Or separation in these times in Hermetic laws. For my D1, I also brought forth these laws. These laws match the dimension in which society lives in at the time. The laws match the reality. It matches the illusion in which the civilization exists in. In all those time periods, there was much duality. But now, the duality is merging into oneness, so are the laws. So are the laws transcending as well, and they are shifting.
So you'll be
understandings of polarity, understandings of opposites, and now coming into oneness, and are now being understood. As instead of being opposites, it's being seen as microcosms instead of opposites. It is being transformed into oneness, into higher truth.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's a very, very beautiful teaching. And so we'll look forward to new truths and principles, new Hermetic principles. You'll have a new corpus.
I have a question. How important is it, or are there multiple dimensions and it's many different lines of development simultaneously? I think that's the truth. But when humanity arrives at a state where enough people can believe can forgive others truly, anything at all. And it's really factual. They look at the other as themselves, and they see that no matter what it is, the other is divine and they are forgiven. What is the relationship of that forgiveness? How necessary is that to Gaia's birthing into fourth density, fifth dimension?
You are all expanding together. The act of forgiveness is a vibration of love. However, when true oneness occurs, there will be no need to forgive, because to forgive is still having the imprint of someone being wrong, and then you are forgiving them with an action.
Third density, yeah.
This is necessary at this stage, but you'll get to a point where you do not have to forgive anyone, because you'll know that they are you and that they are love. But in the true oneness, if you're at this stage, unless you chose to explore it, you will not receive these actions in your life anyway. People will not do you wrong, because you will not have to have this reflected back in you. Everything that occurs is a reflection of what occurs in you. So if you're in a state of oneness and you do not see wrong and right, and you do not see that something can be wrong, then no wrong can be done to you, you see, because it's a reflection of you. Yes. Unless you chose to explore further expansion, unless you chose to explore certain challenges to help with your expansion in your day-to-day life, this will not be in your reality, or to assist you to validate how expansive you are. In relations to Gaia, as all is expanding, as Gaia expands, so do you, as your body and your consciousness is part of Gaia, your human body. So it is necessary for you to expand with Gaia. Everything is expanding. We are all expanding. All the beings of light as source, we are always expanding. This is why also our teachings that may have come forth in other timelines, maybe as that we come forth now, are more expanded, because we are more expanded and our teachings can be more expanded. You see, everyone expands. There is no stagnant beings here, no stagnant energies. Only in the illusion, the human body, you can keep these fear-based imprints, and this becomes stagnant in your human body. And this is what causes illness in your human body, because you're not flowing with life. You're holding on to lower vibrations, and your body is showing you that there is fear within you that needs to be transcended into light. Only stagnant energy only exists in the illusion. Everything is flowing and everything is expanded. And Gaia expands alongside it. Gaia goes through contrast. We all do. We all go through. Gaia is living in non-physical, but is also involved as an intermediary between non-physical and also the illusion that the humans live in, for they need to understand our illusion in part for them to assist us, you see. They are on both sides, assisting us, and they're all expanding and evolving as Gaia.
Thank you very much.
Lauren.
So is one of the reasons that many of you are now coming forth and saying that it's important to detach from the bodies of intellectual learning that we have acquired over the course of this timeline from past timelines, because the teachings themselves have evolved past those prior points. So they're building blocks to get us to where we are today, but we should not perseverate or fixate or over focus on them, because they are now shifting and the truth is changing as a function of the current present, the current state of expansion. Is that part of why you're saying that?
All teachings that were delivered to humans were done so in a way that the human can absorb our information. The teachings were to match our expansion level, our vibration, and the vibration of the person or the vibration of society in which the teachings will be exposed to. And as such, in different timelines, where we were not as expansive as you are now, it had to be delivered in a way where the human person, the human consciousness can absorb this information and allow them to get to the next stage of their evolution. Much of the intellectual knowledge allowed people to get to, for instance, a certain point of self-love and self-confidence to allow them to have a sense of worthiness. And the sense of worthiness is a vibration of love, and this assists in then receiving higher information. You see, everything is a stepping stone. Everything empowers someone. However, in duality, it can be stages where the human consciousness has evolved so much information from the collective consciousness. Many individuals have used this knowledge and kept it within the illusion of their presence, their existence. And as such, this knowledge has been in the human ego consciousness of man.
Thank you.
But this is now being expanded because of duality, separation. It's being more into oneness. Operational systems of the human being has changed, is changing. The shift has now occurred. So the teachings are there to adapt to this new human DNA that is now within you, activated DNA, learning mechanisms, communications. Your body itself has changed and is changing. So our teachings are there to adapt to your new collective consciousness, to your individual consciousness, to the human mind, which is now expanded, who'll be able to take on these teachings and not let it sit in the human ego consciousness, but allow it to absorb into the oneness of who they truly are and to allow them to expand.
Glenn, would you like to ask something?
If you have a burning question, I can wait.
Can I ask it really quickly, and then maybe it's a very quick answer?
Lauren, it's very important for you to ask your questions.
This is a very practical question. So for Kimberly and for Glenn and for me, where we are, I know we each have our own paths, but where we are, what do you have any tip on, just very briefly, on the most expedient way of downloading the purest form possible for us to absorb as individuals in our vibrations? Of course, we're part of the oneness of your knowledge now. You say it's been distorted and polluted, and it's askance from the collective consciousness. But if we want to, access your etheric knowledge in the most expedient, succinct way, how can we download that vibrationally?
All you need to do is connect to your source self. Through the source self, you're connecting to oneness. It's all you need to do. You'll be inspired with different steps. You already do this with your meditations. By you doing different forms of meditation, you are connecting to the oneness. When you connect to the oneness, you'll be able to feel these downloads more readily, we would say. And to maintain your high vibration, we would say, if you're wanting your vibration to rise rapidly, if this is something that you seek, it is about overcoming more of your fears and your limited beliefs. Going more into perspective of oneness, practice oneness. Practice seeing everyone around you, as projections of you. Start seeing situations and people as perfect without judgment, and importantly, with no judgment on yourself. It is just these tools of being in the present moment, practicing oneness, while you remember more and more of who you truly are as you go inwards. And you will connect more. There are different ways You can do these different forms of meditation. It's about being still. And being still, you can transcend the belief systems that still occur within you. For when you are in period of stillness, these limiting beliefs will come to the forefront. If you're in the present moment, these thoughts will come to you. These belief systems, these imprints that have been kept within you. And it's then when you can recognize them and send them love and choose a higher perspective. And once you can do that, they will be transcended.
Thank you very much.
Being in the present moment, you can work on these limiting belief systems. But there is no rush.
Thank you.
It's tapping into non-physical. You are non-physical.
Thank you. Glenn, would you now like to ask a question? We have a few minutes left.
No, go ahead, please.
Oh, no, please. I think that you should have the final few minutes. Unless you don't want to. I have, of course, I have another question.
No, I have so many questions, Lauren. I just never goes on forever and ever, unless I just erased everything. Oh, there we go. No, I didn't. It's fine. There we go. I collect questions on the iPhone.
Oh, great.
I dictate them in the morning, and then I correct the dictation because the iPhone messes up what I ask. This is a big question, but maybe a brief answer for the next 4 minutes. How might a universal law, anyone you'd like to name, Thoth, be related to love?
Can you please repeat your question, my dear one? Rephrase that question, my dear one.
How can you relate, as an example for us, a universal law, anyone you'd like to pick, how can that be related to love? And I don't mean the lower love, instinctive animal love. I mean more spirit love, wishing the best for the other.
You see, my dear child, all is love. All the universal laws are based on love. There is not just one law. All higher truth is love. All non-physical is love. All there is love. Only in the illusion where you see it as separate as love. Everything is love. All the laws are to bring you back to love. Is to allow you to live in the illusion, in love. Everything is for you. Everything is love. Only in the illusion do you experience fear. But even the fear is love. Even the fear behind the fear, in higher truth, fear is also there for love, to bring you back to love. Oneness, true oneness, is to recognize that you are love and that everybody is love. The law of continuity. You will not lose anyone. In your illusion, you have fear. You have fear that you can lose your loved ones. In your illusion, you have fear. You have attachment fears, security issues, because you fear that you will lose love, that you will lose people from your life. This can never be lost. All the people in your life are there for a reason. And once they're in your life, they can never exit your life in all the lives you are living and will live. They will just be playing different roles throughout all your different lives, but they'll be always with you. You cannot lose anyone. When someone transitions to non-physical, they are even more with you. You cannot lose anyone. You are all one. It is only in illusion, in duality, separation, that this occurs. That you fear someone will exit your life. And that you will lose love. you will never lose love, because you are a being of pure love. And this person was playing a role in your life, and they will be always with you in all the lives. Thank you, my dear one.
I have no more questions.
Yes, I think our time has finished, but thank you so much for coming through, Kimberly.
Thank you. Yes.
It is our pleasure. We are excited for this next stage of human evolution and for this next round of teachings to assist you in this transition into oneness, yourselves and others. I love you dearly. We are always with you. Farewell, my dear ones.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm back.
Hi.
It was a wonderful, totally wonderful session.
Oh, good.
Wonderful. Yes. You went deep.
Good. Was there anything that stood out particularly for you guys?
Not really. Everything was terrific. Everything was good.
Everything. Yeah. I mean,
Well, the continuing focus on doing consciousness exercises in seeing the perfection of all that ran through the entire session was very beautiful, very good.
Good. Yes, I do remember bits of that.
Yeah.
Probably not something that can be done easily all the time, but of course, the more you practice it, the more you're in the present moment, you can, I guess, be able to practice that more.
Thoth's suggestion as a good exercise for us.
Yeah, no, it's good. I'm going to watch this back, and yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining today, and thank you all of those who are watching this. Love and light to you all until next time. See you
Right.
later.